Hello, this is a Steinway Model M that's 5'7" long, made in 1930. It's just come into stock. I'm assessing it just to see what sort of work needs doing on it. First of all, it has a pretty perfect set of ivory keys. They're a bit yellowed, but we can buff them and that'll take most of the yellow out. There's a couple of very small chips in the front, which we can easily disguise, I think. The piano's mahogany and it's been in an institution. As you can see, it's not been incredibly well looked after. Now that could be French polished and I think it would be a very successful job. But when a piano's like this, and particularly this age of piano, if it was very older and extremely figured rosewood, for instance, or walnut, then we would repolish it, leave it that colour. But there's a shortage of black grand pianos, and so it's extremely likely that this will be redone in black. If you're watching this video and you'd like us to French polish this piano in mahogany, then please let us know. But we're almost definitely going to fully restore this piano. It's had a reasonable amount of wear over the years, though the pedal is completely worn away. Pianos of this age, it was one of the main forms of entertainment, so you did get a huge amount of playing on Steinways, but that's still very rounded. Well, that's encouraging. Now, making a decision as to whether to fully restore, mentioned this on other videos before. First of all, we test the tuning pins to see if they're tight, and these ones are tight enough just about, but they're not extremely tight. They've been replaced, obviously, it's been restrung. The quality of the bass here is quite inferior for the model of piano, really. I think it's partly the quality of the strings and also perhaps the bridge needs recapping, but these things we'll find out as we go along. But the soundboard's got very dirty there, as you often get on institutions with spillages. But the soundboard itself hasn't got any cracks on it that I can see, though when we de-string the piano we might find one or two cracks that have opened up. The frame is not too bad, so cosmetically it's a potential to leave it as it is. But I think we've already decided, because of slightly loose tuning pins, or just about tight enough pins, and bad bass strings. Let's listen to the mid-treble. And that's very thin and harsh. We'll look at the hammers in a minute too. So again, I think bridge recapping, better bass, better strings. So obviously if fully restored, it's going to look more like this. Now this is a Bechstein, so the colouring of the frame would be a bit different for a Steinway. But you can see it looks like a new piano. So as you've seen on many other videos, if you've been looking at them, then this is the kind of full restoration we're talking about. The bass strings are German and very accurately made. The full restoration will include a brand new tuning block. That's the wood which the tuning pins go into. And that's really important. You can put smaller pins in, but they're really rock solid then. And new tuning blocks are ideal for modern central heating. We've got other videos, a bit more detail about tuning blocks or rest planks. So looking at the action of, we can see the hammers have been replaced. I don't think the rollers have been replaced. I think they're original. We would replace hammers, shanks and rollers, if we mentioned before, because that's the best way of getting not only the right sound from the hammer, but also ensures that all the hinges are tight and the weighting, the friction is correct. There are actually some loose hinges here. They're moving slightly. You won't be able to see it probably, but as I wiggle this backwards and forwards, I think you can see my finger moving. That's because the hinge here is not tight. It's been played and played. It's you could recondition these hammers, but not convinced they're going to sound as good as they should do afterwards. So it's a clear case of full restoration. And not because it's not been restored before, but just because we really want to get the best out of the piano. It's worth it. Model M Steinway of 1930s, one of the best small grand pianos ever made. So that's an assessment of a Steinway Model M made in 1930, 5'7" long, just come into stock. And having assessed it, it's definitely a candidate for full restoration. The action feels disastrous at the moment. The up weight, it pushes against your fingers. The actual touch is very uneven, and so on and so forth, really. But there's some good things about it. The key tops are almost perfect, and certainly can be made to look perfect. So that's really useful. But we're going to have to restore it. We're going to have a new rest plank. refinish the soundboard frame and so on, as you've seen on many other videos. It's not far out of being in tune actually, which is good, but round here it sounds very thin and needs the down bearing increased. And the strings and the bass are very poor indeed. So it'll certainly be a wonderful candidate for restoration. We've done many of these, and I'll try and post this video on the restored piano. If you want the piano to be mahogany, please let us know, because we will do it black, I'm almost certain, if not, because there's not enough black pianos on. Unfortunately, the majority of people are asking for black, and so that will happen. As I say, if it was a really special rosewood veneer, or walnut maybe, then we would perhaps keep it. Very hard to control at the moment. But it's all there. You can tell it's going to be an excellent piano when it's finished. Thank you very much for listening.